Yeah, sticking with football, but let's head into Europe, where the UEFA Champions League semi-finals were completed within the hour. PSG setting up a final showdown with Inter Milan after securing victory against Arsenal in the second leg of their tie in France. PSG came into the game with a 1-0 advantage from the first leg before sealing the deal with a 2-1 win in front of their fans.
Paris Saint-Germain without Ousmane Dembele, all in blue with the red flashes down the front, who will kick from left to right in the first half against Arsenal in red and white. Partey with the throw. And it's brilliant save by Donnarumma.
That first leg, and yet again it's a long throw that comes in. Marino challenges for it, Martinelli gets the touch, but just such a reaction save there from Donnarumma.
Partey with the throw. Relentless pressure early on and driven by Odegaard, and Donnarumma's there again.
From set pieces, deliveries into the box. Again, it was a long throw from Partey, this time from the other side.
Rice with a heavy touch. Kvaratskhelia came in quickly. Rice caught him, and the card is coming out for Arsenal's Declan Rice. Partey's clearing header. Fabian Ruiz hit it well.
For all Arsenal's dominance, this is what Paris Saint-Germain can do to you. The clearance is only part cleared by, I think it's Partey, isn't it? And once Ruiz gets it onto that left foot.
Desiree Doué back into Hakimi, deflected, and David Raya makes a smart stop. It's Lewis Skelly's right hand as Hakimi hit the shot. It made it a more difficult save for David Raya. And he's given the penalty to Paris Saint-Germain. Vitinha. And it's saved by David Raya, who does repeat his heroics. Partey hasn't dealt with that. Hakimi!
Hakimi, it comes from Arsenal giving the ball away. Sloppy, but then once Kvaratskhelia gets the ball into this position, Partey doesn't know where Hakimi is. He needs to just clear that first time. Hakimi gets in, nips it, Dembele straight away into the action. It's just a little touch out of his feet.
Marquinhos. Trossard goes on and is allowed to go on. And it deflects to Saka, and Saka can score for Arsenal.
Yeah, this is what they'll probably look at if it's a foul on Marquinhos. I don't think there's enough in that.
Yeah, it's been checked and cleared already. The goal stands.
Yeah, and just that deflection means that it actually falls to Saka. And he's not going to miss from there.
Saliba forward. Calafiori here. Pinging it in, Saka! It's gone over the bar from Saka. Wouldn't have expected it to reach him, but it did.
Oh, he's got to score, hasn't he? I know it bounces up just as he's about to kick it, but he's got to get over the top of that. He knows that's a massive chance.
And Paris Saint-Germain are into the final of the Champions League for only the second time.
Yeah, massive opportunity missed by Saka late on in that game, but PSG doing enough to win the tie, winning the second leg as well by 2-1. Juan Girango joins us via Zoom to recap the tie. And Juan, just how good was this PSG team over 2 legs, and specifically in this second leg today?
Basically, the only mistake that they made was the goal by Saka. So anytime Arsenal had any semblance of being able to attack or elaborate on anything, they quickly shut them down. They would quickly know how to come back to what they were going and defending and doing everything so well. I mean, it's a team. We've said that throughout Champions League studio coverage throughout. They're a team now. And now you start to see players take that next level. You start to hear more of Hakimi being an elite level right back, which he's always been. You're talking more about William Pacho being a top level center back. You're hearing a lot more about other players becoming and falling into a role where you know, the collective is the most important thing, and the collective was the most important thing for PSG in this round against an Arsenal side. And many Arsenal fans will be wondering, well, where was Martin Odegaard? Where, you know, the only bright spot you could really come out of Arsenal as an Arsenal fan, say, well, at least he tried, was Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, Juan, I want you to talk about Donnarumma, the goalkeeper, because he was just absolutely amazing for PSG, and not just in the second leg. He was superb in the first leg, and you were probably thinking he couldn't top that performance, but I feel like he did today.
And he was brilliant in quarters. He was brilliant at Anfield. So we could say that. And actually, I've been hearing people, I don't necessarily agree, but I understand where they're coming from. Many have even started saying, well, maybe Gigi Donnarumma is the best player in the Champions League this year because what he's done for his team. And there is certain argument and merit to it. I might not 100% fall in line with that, but there is an argument for that because he's appeared in big games. And for him, it's such a moment of being vindicated after all that he's gone through at PSG, especially in Champions League. Seeing it this year really come and fall into place is something very memorable and something very commendable for Gigi Donnarumma.
Yeah, you know what? I quite like when these things happen in football, Juan, because quite often defenders and goalkeepers' impact on games are highly underestimated or undervalued. And I quite think Donnarumma was brilliant today. Those saves against this one, where this was a shot that came through a wall of players with a lot of power. I don't know how he got down to that and to turn it wide. And there was a save from a Saka effort as well. And really, really outstanding. Having said that, PSG going through reasonably comfortably now based on the scoreline. But what does it say about Arsenal's effort today that Donnarumma had to play such a pivotal role?
If you want to look at it from a Wizard of Oz standpoint, it's either he's, Arsenal seem to be the cowardly lion. They're looking for a heart. It's a team that has an icebox in their chest. That it never once did it seem like there was a sense of urgency from Arsenal, and it ends up. Maybe it's not just what it appears from an Arsenal standpoint. We also have to look at what the opposition was capable of doing in order for Arsenal to react that way. So in a sense, it's also what PSG were capable of doing. How they look. If you notice, in almost every single set piece, you had around 7, 8, 9 players for PSG flooding the 6, not preventing Arsenal players from heading properly. That in and of itself, taking away what is arguably one of the biggest strengths of Arsenal, or at least that's the narrative, to be able to take that away from them tells you a great deal what PSG were able to do and execute from a game plan standpoint. So it would be completely unfair to send it in one direction and say, well, Arsenal lack courage and they lack belief and they lack this, that, and the other. But you also have to say that PSG executed to almost perfection.
Yeah, and to add to that, they were without Dembele today, who has been such a prolific player for them in recent months, that to get by Arsenal in the way that they did today without Dembele is also a feather in their cap.
Absolutely. And again, it goes back to, it's funny because Dembele is another one of those players that comes to PSG looking for a second opportunity after everything that happened to him at Barca, and he's getting it. And he now is looking like a top-level, world-class player at PSG. And that also has to be mentioned, that even though a player of that ilk, that means that much to his team, if he steps away, everybody else is able to step in and do their job and even maximize at what they do best.
Yeah, very much the case. I tell you what, you always want to hear from those involved following these massive matches. So let's get the thoughts now of both coaches.
How can I be more happy than anyone? I think the team deserves that achieve. They work a lot during the whole season, and we didn't start the Champions League season at a high level with a lot of matches with, I think, bad luck. But at the end, we are in the final, and I think it's a deserved.
You know what it takes to win the Champions League? Does this team have what it takes?
Of course. We are one of the best teams in Europe. And now we are one of the two best teams in Europe because the Champions League is in that moment only two teams with the possibility of being champions. We are going to fight and to try to get for our supporters. Making history in Paris is our ambition, and I think we can do it. Yeah.
Mikel, the journey ends here tonight. What are your initial thoughts after that?
Well, first of all, congratulate PSG for reaching the final. The assessment, I will make it when I'm a little bit cooler, but the feedback that I got straight away from their bench is that we're much better than them. When you look at the two games, who's been their best player on the pitch, he's been their goalkeeper. He's made a difference for them in the tie. And I think we were very close, much closer than our results showed. But unfortunately, we are out. I'm very proud of the players, what we've done today, the way we started, how we handled the pressure, the amount of pressure. After 20 minutes, it should be 3-0. But, yeah, there is something extra that you need in the competition to go your way, and it didn't.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta there praising the performance of the PSG goalkeeper Donnarumma for his outstanding performances in both legs of this tie, and Luis Enrique, the PSG coach, before him, of course, saying that obviously his team is one of the two best in Europe. One, is Arsenal lacking a central striker?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's been said all season, especially after losing Gabriel Jesus and having the injuries that they've had. Yeah, they do lack a number 9.
Is that part of the reason they're not in the Champions League final? Is that a major part of the reason they're not in the Champions League final?
No. I mean, they didn't have a number 9 and they got to the semifinals of the Champions League. So it would be unfair to say that that's the only reason. Now, that certain players didn't perform up to par, that's where you can start really pointing the finger at. That you got out-executed by a team in PSG, you can say that as well. I mean, there's one thing that you get used to hearing Mikel Arteta say, we were much better than the other team. Oh, the best player was the goalkeeper. Yeah, but the best player was their goalkeeper. That's the problem. And you ended up putting him in a situation where you as a team have struggled to score, and you allowed him to shine. So at the end of the day, well, you end up going home with nothing.
A little surprising to me, but I hear some fans of Arsenal saying Arteta out. Are you on that train?
Perfect. Who do you bring in?
Is that the only reason? Is that the only reason why you would say no? Because at this stage you're uncertain as to who would replace him.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, who do you bring in? That's going to continue that trajectory. Because usually when you have coaching changes, sometimes the performance goes down. Sometimes it stays the same. Sometimes you don't see much of a difference. Perfect. Who do you bring in?
What do you think that Mikel Arteta deserves another opportunity to take this Arsenal team to the promised land, whether that is the English Premier League title or the Champions League crown?
I mean, from a Premier League standpoint, it's just talk Premier League alone. He's there. Next year could be the year, but you have to start looking at a lot of
for a while.
Oh no, I heard that last year. I heard the year before, and the year before, and the year before. So I agree with you. We've heard it for a long time. But when it comes to him, I mean, I would rather have at this point stability, and if him being second or third place in the Premier League, semifinals of the Champions League, if that's a reason to sack him, by all means, go ahead. Try and find me a coach that's going to get me to a final.
And you don't think that coach exists at the moment?
Not in England, and maybe not in Europe right now. I mean, we seriously is going to. I mean, who's going to be the coach that comes in? Mourinho? I mean, which coaches would be available come? You know, Carlo Ancelotti decides to say, no, you know what? I'm not going to go coach Brazil. I'm going to coach Arsenal. That's not going to happen either. So I mean, we have to be realistic. Arteta's been able to take Arsenal from where they were to where they are and maintain where they are. Now, can he bring them? I mean, I don't know how much more he can take them, but I know that they're there.
Well, the team that's there at the moment, along with Inter Milan, and we saw them yesterday in that epic clash. Who do you think will win the final one? I know there is a lot of time for us to preview and analyze that May 31 clash, but which of these two teams do you think will go all the way, Inter or Paris Saint-Germain?
PSG already won their league. PSG already in the final. So they have time to rest, to shift, to do a lot of changes within Liga. Inter still find themselves in a battle for the Scudetto. That might give them freshness, or at least give them that constant play before the Champions League final. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, as of right now, as of today, I might change my mind in 2 weeks. PSG.
PSG. Okay, Juan, thanks a lot for breaking down this semi-final for us, as you did with the other semi-final as well. And we'll talk again soon.
Got them both wrong, too, so I actually got one wrong. I got one wrong.
You got one wrong.
1-1.
Yeah, one wrong. One and one. Yeah. Okay, Juan, thanks a lot, man. Yeah, we go to break.
Take care, guys.
Yeah,
Bye.
Still more coming up on the SportsMax Zone after this.